Welcome to the show. I am MMA insider and Herb Dean's dog sitter, Joey Venti, and you're listening to the MMA History Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to the preservation of mixed martial arts history. Interviews and stories about the early days of MMA direct from the men who lived it. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of hours of research, all conducted by the most obsessed mind in the business, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Join us as we document the history of the sport we all love. Welcome back to the MMA History Podcast. I am Joey Venti. I'm here with the MMA detective Mike Davis. Today we're joined by our guest, Jared Scholar Shaw. Jared worked for EliteXC during its rise in the mid-2000s, playing a behind-the-scenes role in major events that helped push MMA onto network television. He later stayed involved across multiple promotions and has a first-hand perspective on one of the most important and chaotic periods in MMA history. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it, guys.
So Jared, why don't we tell everybody what you're doing currently, and then we're going to talk about the past.
Yeah, I'm currently I'm a professional artist. I reside in Miami, Florida, and I opened a business for other people to have an experience to actually paint. It's a sip and paint business where they come and they paint jean jackets and have wine and have a whole experience and do it in kind of like an event, group. So that's obviously one thing I'm doing for the people that I kind of opened here in my studio. But thankfully, I guess life and the ups and downs of it, and this, what we're going to talk about is one chapter of my life, but these chapters of my life allowed me to express myself creatively and artistically, and people relate to that and appreciate that. And thankfully, I'm able to make a living off of that. Although I miss the fight game. Fight game will always be a huge, huge part of who I am, or how I became who I am.
Yeah. So do you still follow the fight game? I mean, you're a boxing dynasty, multi-generation, family.
Of course. I follow it not as deeply or religiously in either sport, nor MMA, nor boxing, but I'm still very aware of most of the events that are taking place. Or, it's like I could just step into watching a fight in either sport and it's like not miss a beat, obviously.
Yeah. So you're a third generation fight guy, third or fourth?
Third.
Which one is it? Third? Wow. That's wild. I mean, you're just talking like 100 years of experience.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, for my life, it's like I grew up in and outside of a ring because my father was an inspector for the state of New Jersey. Starting in the 70s. Before I was born in 80. And through my youth, he became from an inspector to an actual commissioner and board member of the Commission of New Jersey, which at the time also, it was the Sports and Expo Commission. So they also had wrestling under their belt. So this is like 1985, and I'm like in the back meeting Terry Bollea, not Hulk Hogan, and it's so surreal. And on my 5th birthday, they were wrestling at the Meadowlands. Obviously, I loved wrestling. So my dad takes me there and he takes me to the back, and I'm meeting all the wrestlers like I always do and get their signature. And we walk in on Bob Backlund. And Bob Backlund's in like this photo shoot. And all of a sudden he's like, "Come here, kid." And I had this floral shirt on, and he picks me up and he hugs me, and they snap all these photos. Well, fast forward like maybe a month or two later, that photo shoot that we happened to just walk into was the Sports Illustrated inaugural shoot for wrestling that put Hulk Hogan on the cover. My picture with Bob Backlund is in Sports Illustrated. He's holding me up and it says, "No more room for Mr. Nice Guy." Incredible experiences. So yes, I grew up in this world, in this fight game, in all combat sports, including the fake ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And like Joey and I, when our prep, we had talked, you're boxing royalty. Like it's your bloodline. It's the truth. It's your bloodline. Multiple generations of people built a bloodline, created opportunity, and with opportunity comes contacts, and so on and so forth. So you guys were like the first major boxing people to cross into mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor was that you were kind of like in Dad's ear about, no, Dad, let's tell us how the transition happens.
Yeah, I mean, the transitional time was like the early 2000s. Internet is just really like starting to boom. Things like YouTube are popping up. So I just say that because that will obviously entree us to Kimbo. But all of these things that are different are happening in my house. It's happening that my dad has 4 TVs in one room. That's how he thought multi-TV worked back then, but he didn't even know how to control them. So he'd be like, Jared, come in here. How do I like work these? So it's like, it's like nowadays, I don't know the PlayStation controller anymore. There's so many buttons and stuff. Like we outgrow this time to where technology then advances us, right? And then we have to like rely on the youth to teach us something. So this was like that moment of time to where all this new stuff was popping. And in boxing isn't what it is now. The real like majestic times of boxing, it was actually about dinosaurs. Everybody in it who's running it is old, and they're all set in their ways. King set in his way, Aram set in his way, my dad set in his way. Each person isn't thinking about how to cultivate the sport and grow it in a different way, or how to use its athletes in different ways. There was none of that. There's so much was none of that their pay scales are still messed up in the fact that you're giving a guy everything just to show up, not to perform. And that's become a problem later in boxing, right? So all these different things that were happening weren't affecting the success of boxing for these dinosaurs. But I was telling my dad, we're going to miss the boat. This MMA is blowing up. And for me, it was like, I just
wait. Let me interject. You're talking 2000. You were having that's when these conversations started.
Yes.
Joey, little side note, and I'm going to let you continue. I apologize. There was 2 children of famous promoters doing this, Vince McMahon and this gentleman right here. Same time. Go ahead.
Appreciate it.
That's the truth.
And it's interesting because first of all, I had open heart surgery in 1999. And I remember this enormous gift I got, and it was from the Fertittas. So my dad had relationships because of being a commissioner. When he'd go to Vegas, he became best friends with Mark Ratner, who would later become an important figure in UFC, but like best friends with Mark Ratner. And through that, he became very good friends with the Fertittas. And I remember just having this amazing gift from the Fertittas. So the things that we've been like dancing around, all like the players and the mixes, was already kind of like this interesting mix. My dad was at the Tito Ortiz fight in the Meadowlands. This was before the UFC got successful, but this was probably when Dana was just starting. But obviously, like everybody, I saw Tough. I saw Forrest. I saw Bonner. It was amazing. It was riveting. It was awesome, right? And it made me think to myself, we need to start doing this too, because in boxing, there's not just one of us, there's many of us, and we all do this. And that's the best part about boxing is my guy versus your guy. There's no better feeling than that. That's the feeling of team sports when you're rooting for the Giants or someone's rooting for the Bengals and they're playing each other, right? Your team. Well, in boxing, it's your guys and then there's their guys and your stables, and you fight your guy. Maybe one guy fights, until Bob Arum figured out a better recipe, which was like what the UFC then figured out. Let's just be our own promotion. Only people in my promotion fight my guys. That's how Bob Arum was for a long time, until you could get the networks to use as leverage or the sanctioning bodies to force fights. But other than the championship fight, you weren't going to see those guys be built against other guys. Why is a promoter going to risk building his fighter against someone? So my dad never thought like that. That was never our philosophy.
No, he was thinking next event, make money. Here's my
main events. When we ran main events,
repeat, recycle. Yeah.
When we ran main events, when we formed Gary Shaw Productions and ran with that, we always fought everyone else's fighters. The rest is about how good your matchmaker is and how you build your guy up until it starts becoming risk, right? Everyone's going to pad their fighter the first 10 to 12 fights between padding a record or trying to teach him how to do something in the ring or getting his stamina up but eventually you start to gamble, right? You start taking educated risks, and that's the fun. That's like, for the behind the scenes people,
it's addiction.
You gotta be able to know your fights and know how to match your guys and know, is this the risk because I may cost the next payday or cost a career if I this. But that's like hedge fund trading, right? It's everything.
It's the beginning of addiction.
Yes, of course.
It is. It's a different kind. You're getting high, and you're just like matching fight.
Getting high while delivering a product that finds success and safety. So it's like you can't find better wins than those. So then if you're in that, and anyone who's in the fight world will know what I'm saying right now, when you're in the fight world, it doesn't matter if you're the cut man. It doesn't matter if you're the best friend of the girlfriend who's the fighter. Once you're part of that team, nothing feels like a fucking win. Nothing, right? So you got that whole feeling going on. And I just basically told my dad, we are going to miss this boat. The train is going to go, and you like to conduct things, and we're going to be behind. Nah, I'm a boxing promoter. Okay, whatever.
Let me interject one more time. So he's just a boxing promoter. And any real boxing promoter in their life experiences, they try other things. And generally speaking, they don't work. And when they don't work, they just go, okay, I do almost 30 years of promoting fights. I've been talking to doing numerous things. None of it works out except what I know. To get your dad off that track, not easy.
Plus, he's on a successful track. So you're asking somebody to sidetracks solid success for whatever it is, more success, whatever.
A risk.
So be it. Over those next 2 or 3 months, nothing obviously happened because he would always dismiss my ideas. I decided I was going to manage fighters, boxers. So I went to the Blue Gold tournament in LA, where I found Danny Garcia and Gary Russell Jr., who I delivered to Al Heyman later in life. But at that moment, I found these kids. I really liked what I saw. And I'll be the first to say, that moment, Terrence Crawford was there. I didn't see what I would see later in life in Terrence. So I'm not here to just be like, yeah, I do this. I missed the boat. Like I could have tried to even then, but it happens. But these were the athletes I was around. So I'm like, okay, I really like what I'm doing here. I'm 27. I'm starting to make moves. I'm going to get these fighters. And then my dad calls me. He's like, pick me up at the airport. And you're coming with me to a meeting. I said, okay. So I picked him up. We drove downtown. And that meeting was Ken Hirschman from Showtime and Doug DeLuca, who was the vice president of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and a couple of other gentlemen were there that were like the financial. And
let me throw some names. Was Kurt Brendtlinger there?
He was there.
Joe, this guy on an all-star team is like your clinch hitter. Yeah, I mean he's a freaking stud. Oh yeah. Was David Marshall there?
Yes.
So David Marshall, Joey, like remember when Bodog had their issues? I worked for Bodog. I'm a past employee of Bodog. When Bodog went down, he was like one of the top 100 wealthiest people that declared taxes in the world. He went down, had some issues. I go on a tangent on that. This guy, David Marshall, cleaned up with youbet.com. Like clean sweep, beautiful, packaged, done. Go ahead. I mean, these are actual players that make shit happen.
So they were all at the table and they were basically discussing this new MMA company. Because what had happened was Ken Hirschman had a light in his head that he didn't want to miss the boat with MMA. So he, I think, started to see a couple of different groups because they couldn't strike a deal with UFC. So it was going to be that they needed to build their own thing. And
let me kind of help set this. If I don't mean to keep interrupting you, I promise I'll shut the fuck up. But Joey, just so everybody can kind of understand the timeline, April 21st, 2007, UFC 70 was supposed to be on HBO. And that was the event where I can sit here and go, well, you know, they say, oh, it was the announcers. They wanted their own announcing booth. The reality of the situation is Chris Allwright, who was the HBO executive that was just going to kind of put the pedal on the gas, got into a domestic issue, was arrested, and they kind of like everything blew up, and anything associated with fighting, like HBO boxing was okay because it was established, but they weren't taking any risks on any white trash shit that's in a cage. And his arrest really thwarted that. And Showtime, which is always kind of ridden second to HBO with boxing, whether it's production, name value, fighters, they saw an opening. And that's when this meeting
beat him to the punch.
Is it? Am I okay on my timeline here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Dude, ladies and gentlemen at home, this story is so freaking fascinating. It's so fascinating. Go ahead. Yeah, so you had this meeting. Go ahead.
So we had this meeting, and it was basically that Ken had felt most comfortable with this group. And while he felt
Kingmaker.
He felt comfortable that this was the group. He felt comfortable, even if my father was going to come in as a consultant, as a liaison between maybe the network and this new promotional outfit, because my father has a long history with Showtime, with not only as a single promoter, people probably don't know this. My father created ShoBox, the next generation. So as a promoter with the late Jay Larkin, they created ShoBox, the next generation. So my father had a history of not only having fighters on this network, you know, but essentially helping this network build another platform for fighting that they would then carry on for years and years and years and years. So the history was good. And I think what made my father a great success in the fight world was he always put everything else before his name. So like he would have taken on a fighter as a consultant if that fighter meant if it was the right money for the right business. My father's fine being not the main, you know, Shane Mosley's promoter, but with Shane as a part of the take. Whereas most promoters weren't going to give a fighter a fucking share of the take. But my father didn't see it necessarily that way. And that wasn't with just fighters. That would be in a lot of different maneuvers that he would, you know, choose to make. So in this one, he would come in possibly as a consultant. And I'm there.
Was Jerry Lappen there, the attorney? Or was that later on?
No.
Okay. Go ahead. Jerry, footnote, we'll get to Jerry Lappen. Super fascinating. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. He was not. But in this meeting, there was one other person there who I believe there's been lawsuits in the past, and I just don't want to put my foot in any mouth or anything, even though it's long gone. So I'll just say that this other person there was another fight outfit. He was the guy that was going to be their fight leader. Okay. My father was going to be a consultant liaison for everything. I was just there kind of like to listen, but then obviously I felt need to talk at times about MMA and what I saw, and everyone I think realized I'm their viewer. So
you're the guinea pig. Yeah. And they see your energy.
I'm their viewer. I'm the important. What I want and what I like is going to matter to what they want because I'm their viewer. But I'm also a deeply rooted fight person who can simulate fighters in my mind, and I can see talent. And I've found at least 10 world champions before they were 15 years old, you know, and I've delivered them to people from James Prince to Al Heyman, you know, or straight to my pops. Like I have an eye for talent. So I already believe in that. And I know that this is no different. You know, this part is going to be learning wrestlers.
Let me reiterate. Third generation fight guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got a heads up. Yeah.
So that's how the meeting left. Well, it didn't take more than, I don't think, 24 hours before I'm getting a call from Kurt Brenlinger to tell me basically to think about what I want to be the vice president of the company. And I find out
at 27.
Because I find out also at the same time, my father is now going to become the president of the company. And this other fight guy is no longer going to be part of it at all.
All right. Let me, Jared, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Boxing in general, it's like families of gypsies. They're constantly fighting each other. They're always stealing from one another. And it's like, it's a dysfunctional family party.
It's the only business that's more cutthroat than music, which is why people who make it in music
think about that. Think about that. Yeah. I agree with that.
They say two things. They say about boxing management, that's a rich man's hobby because it costs a lot to make, and you got to carry them through. They say that, and then they say about the business of it, it's the only business that's more cutthroat than music, and that's why you see the main music guys eventually all try to come be a part of it. And Al is a main music mogul, so he's obviously was successful at doing both. But
that's frightening. Yeah. What a psycho he has to be, and that is a compliment. That is an absolute compliment.
So, pause. It wasn't like less than 24 hours, or maybe it was a day and a half, or maybe it was later that full 24 hour. But from that meeting, that night, I think UFC they weren't in LA yet. So they had to have been out. Maybe it was in Anaheim. Okay. Maybe. And I'm going with this other fight guy who I'm not saying the name of for just whatever reason. Doesn't matter. And I'm accompanied by two people. And now I think this is the coolest thing because I have one fighter at that point that I actually love in MMA. Like I just from like when we had a crossover of a boxing match and they were doing their thing, Matt Hughes was this was like when they started having the big WWE graphics and pyros, that early shit. Cool. And it was none other than BJ Penn. So BJ and JD Penn we met up with me and this other guy, and then we all went to this fight together. And that was my first introduction to the Penn brothers, which obviously it's terrible. Unfortunately, what is now going on with BJ and
no, but we're going to get to it. What you guys did with YE and MMA is fucking mind blowing. But let's do there's a lot of twists and turns and some incredible explosions that are fantastic. So go ahead. So you go to this fight.
Yep. And then that's my encounter with the Penns. Then I go home and then I get this call from Kurt.
Oh,
so sounds awesome, And at that point, that's kind of what happened. That's the beginning of it all. We're going to start a promotion from scratch. That's
no. Let me. So, and this is Joey and I reverse engineering. Like this has nothing to do with information or anything. It appears, Joey, and correct me if I'm wrong, based on the timeline that you and I put together, it looks like, all right, you got the green light. Here's your dates, and you're starting from scratch, and the dates are right around the corner. Is that correct?
Kind of.
That's what it looked like.
But it's not just that. It's also a lot of fumbling of the bags, because what happened was this endeavor was a very big play that was bigger than just the fight part.
Oh yeah.
So the whole public will always look at it like EliteXC failed. EliteXC never failed. EliteXC turned green in less than 14 months. Go find me another promotion house housing the amount of fighters and the money that we're spending on them and turning profit in 14 months. But we were bleeding out our ass as a pro elite overall business, which, like I said, this thing was heavily funded. There were partners that were Showtime and CBS, and
Everybody wanted their beak wet.
My dad always said they were blowing through the money like drunk sailors. Why does every room need a TV when there was like 50 rooms in our building? Like, why do we need so much of this room? But also it's because they wanted to build this. They thought that they could be a new Facebook or a new MySpace. So they built Pro Elite, which was going to be like where fighters like chat and stuff, like a Facebook. But it's like, that wasn't reinventing the wheel. And what never made sense to me at that time was we were buying up all of these other promotions that had no good fighters for us. It wasn't like we were acquiring good fighters. We did that on our own, but we were acquiring promotions like Rumble on the Rock, like whatever TJ and
Icon.
Okay,
yeah.
we got
Spirit,
both of them.
Spirit MC,
Cage Rage, King of Cage with Terry. We're literally buying up all this shit that doesn't have the fighters to feed us, but it has all the libraries, right? So I kept thinking to myself, why are we not just a pay? Because we were also the first to start streaming, right? We were streaming our undercards. We were doing revolutionary things.
So we're gonna get to all that. Like you were streaming on SureDog. We'll get to here. Let's kind of get into it. So you guys
unpack it all as 2 years long.
yeah. I know. And I'm not trying to take you off your track, but there's a lot here, and all of that's going to kind of come out. So you get named vice president. Mm-hmm. And so at the same time, like your first event, which was February 10th, 2007, EliteXC Destiny.
The fucking dragon, man.
Okay, so what kind of turnaround time do you get from the green light to your first event?
That was incredibly quick, a big time whirlwind move, and it was all about securing a main event. That was like the whole focus main event.
Was it a month or more than a month?
No, it was about a month.
Wait. So Joey, wow, arena show,
maybe a little bit more because they built that awful dragon and that had to take some time.
Okay,
and I keep talking about the dragon because I just want people to understand, like, that thing costs over $200,000. You can't start a promotion spending that kind of money unless you know how to promote and turn that shit green. So when I say things like we turned green in 14 months, it wasn't like we didn't have detractors from the jump on budget that was not needed, but there were ways to create business.
All right. So Joey, this is kind of like on the administrative side that you and I kind of pick apart. So they get the green light. They got a month to put together an event with high-end fighters, an attractive main event where you get like the holy shit factor. And in the meantime, you've got a whole bunch of people applied onto you to do certain jobs that have no oversight initially. So the $200,000 dragon in Destiny, which got very little view time, was probably just one of those handshake deals where, all right, you're going to do this, charge that much, see you next week.
Right.
I think they thought in the beginning, I think part of the problem was always, and this is why I think my dad eventually left, he couldn't, and this is why he didn't work for him at Rock Nation. He didn't have control, and he didn't want to be he didn't want to be in power struggles to where he knows what's right. He's done the promotion is no different anywhere you go. We're the circus. You fucking put up the tent, you sell the tickets, you do the concessions, you cash your money. It's no different. It's just a difference of a time and place and the fighters' names. That's the 100% difference. Okay.
You're a traveling circus.
And the only way you get more and more verticals is also how you take more risk, which is then you just call yourself the ultimate party planner, right? Because now you're like, I need this DJ there. And we need, you start thinking outside the box, which can happen. But ultimately, that's what we are. We're the circus. Okay. So
let me just kind of like quantify everything. And I get it. You go on tangents, dude, and they're brilliant. But let me just kind of wrangle a little bit. Your main event. So think about this. You got to get an experienced MMA matchmaker. Who do you guys call?
No, it's what we've paired up with. No calls made. What happens is, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. We're dealing with what they're bringing us because they're spending the money. They're buying other companies. My dad is in on those conversations as a vice president I'm not really, but because I'm always around my dad, I make myself aware of everything. But what was happening was we were buying these other companies, but they didn't necessarily have the fighters, but they also had the stalwarts of the business, right? So
yeah, it's the foundation.
So we get too many guys, which also leaves some guys angry. TJ, Patrick Fertitas, I know who my fake haters are from the jump, because I know who feels like they got pushed out because I watched it all with my own eyes. But where do I talk about that or ever talk about it? I don't, it doesn't matter, but I know, I know the haters, and they hate why they're more haters, because we take the other Hawaii boys and they become the integral part, because they really were. JD and Rich Chou were incredibly important. And then the other was my problem, and that was Jeremy Lappen. So Jeremy and I did nothing but feud behind the sgive That's not a really known thing. We don't like each other. I mean, okay. I like Jeremy. I don't wish him unwell. I would give him a hug if I saw him. But like during this time, I think it was a power struggle that he wanted a control that, number one, was under my father, and he would do undermining things, in my opinion, for his benefit, or deal within a vest, which is not what it was about. And I would swing my power dick right back and trump whatever the hell he was doing sometimes, because me, JD, and Rich were the matchmaking team. So the problem for Jeremy was, just let me explain it to you. The problem was Jeremy was like, I was the vice president, and Jeremy, I think, had a similar title, but Jeremy was like, in the meeting with my dad, like my dad's like, maybe he thinks he's like the protege type, but he's not on the matchmaking team. Okay.
And let me kind of quantify this. Outside of the promoter's number one. The matchmaking team is the absolute most powerful portion of an organization. It's an incredible trade-off. You're going to get a decent payday. You will never have a life. Your entire life is going to be glued to your phone, and any relationship you have where they expect some sort of privacy or intimate conversation, that shit's over. It's not going to happen. Not at this level. So, as Scala had said, they brought in a whole bunch of other.
So funny. I haven't been called
Indians. And it becomes, what happens is it becomes Game of Thrones.
Yep. Especially when when there's power.
Too many people. Too many people.
Not just that. You're talking big time. Like, we're doing big things. We're working with CBS. We're doing ESPY awards. Like, we're doing big fucking things. You know what I'm saying?
And the pushback against what he's saying is the other side. Rich Chou, I've always respected Rich. I've met him in person for the first time a few weeks ago. Doing my investigation into EliteXC and what exactly took place, my respect for Rich Chou went through the roof. Like, through the absolute roof. And like yourself, and we'll get into this later, Rich Chou was absolutely targeted by a paid advertising campaign to undermine him. He was. But he's such a Boy Scout that there really wasn't much that they could get. Like, Rich Chou's a choir boy. He chooses who he works with.
He truly is.
Yeah, he's a choir boy, dude.
And he's great at what he does.
He chooses who he works with. You don't choose Rich Chou. He chooses you. And I mean, that's just where he's at today. So
he's great, and he deserves that, because he earned it. He earned it because he was the integral part of our little three-way match. It was really like Rich was like, he knew the guys from Shudo, from Pride. He just had the history and the liaison that we needed, and he was a good conduit for the way that I'm not an MMA purist, right? But they're the ones rolling in the past, and it's like, it's just a better foundation to getting the guys that are veterans signed or bringing in. The new kids know I could go out and attack, bring in a young kid. I mean,
the coaches and the managers.
We were talking to John Jones, and we had Shane Carwin basically signed. Like we were like about to announce, those were going to be the next maneuvers. So like we were always right on top of all the news.
So TJ Thompson, old school promoter. You've got Jeremy Lappen. So everybody can kind of understand. TJ Thompson is with Icon Sports. Them and the Pens had rival companies in Hawaii, which you guys purchased both of. I think Rich Chou was one of the people that helped bridge that gap, which is absolutely incredible. But we'll get to that. But Jeremy Lappen was the guy that was always the thorn in the UFC side because he had Randy Couture's ear, and Randy Couture was dragging them through the mud with either their contract, with their rights. He really wanted to fight Fedor. And what Lappen would do is, and I'm not in these meetings, and I've not talked to anybody about it. This is just me kind of connecting dots behind the scenes. It appears that Jeremy Lappen is bouncing between you guys and Affliction in order to get more money for his clients while taking a percentage there, while also getting a check from the mothership.
Probably.
I
can't.
I don't think it's a hard.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
it's not a big jump.
I think he's a lawyer, and he he's grimy for what he wants. You know what I mean? But I'm not knocking that. That's
a compliment.
Like, that's the way they do it. Yeah, that's the way.
It's a compliment. Yeah,
and they get slimy with it or whatever. And I think he also wanted power. And I think that's what I'm saying. The issue there was like, you weren't going to fuck my match. You weren't going to step in my matchmaking way. Like, that's how I felt. Like, oh, you're going to go try to sign this guy when I don't think we should sign him or whatever. Or we're going to battle and you're going to fuck with me about a fighter, but you're not going to fuck with how I want to match fighters because it's what I know.
Okay. So let's just say you had, and I'm not going to use Jerry as an example, but we'll just use Joe Blow. If Joe Blow was creating a headache and you're just got to go, I mean, because that power struggles before a company grows, that power struggle's got to get settled, whether it's out the door or get in line.
Yep.
But you guys didn't have the ability to do that. The only thing you had was the leverage of matchmaking. How would you get somebody fired or tell somebody out the door?
I would never have tried. That's not how I am. That wouldn't be my MO to throw someone out the door. And ultimately I stay in my lanes, and
you allow people to make money.
I understood. He couldn't do the things I could do anyway. He couldn't talk on a microphone, couldn't talk to reporters. I could. I have the gift for the gab. I have the understanding of promotion. So he already was stuck in one position to where you can never be the face of conversating about them. And meanwhile, neither of us are the face. So it's like two younger brothers fighting, right? Because it's really my dad, but my dad doesn't really know MMA. He knows promotion, and that's all you need to know. And he knows how to make money putting it all together. He's putting his trust in us to sign the right fighters, to match the right fighters. So that is how the face of it looked. There are so many other names that go into the promotion because of Pro Elite and the streaming, but none of them are important. The only real important players when it comes to discussing EliteXC is Gary Shaw, Jeremy Lappen, JD Penn, Rich Chou, myself, Doug DeLuca, Chuck, whatever Chuck's last name is, I forget. He became the CEO after Doug, and the gentlemen that you named, which were the investment group that put it together. But the truth is, they're only important for you guys tracing back how it all transpired. Yeah. They have nothing to do with the fight game or making EliteXC. And that's what's so funny about it. It's really like there's two worlds, right? It's the uncovering of Pro Elite is the real conversation, right? And then there's the story of EliteXC, a promotional outfit as a branch of a mothership, which was the star of the entire thing, which is why it looks like it's the one that imploded the whole ship, but it's the one that got sacrificed by the implosion of the ship, which was to Scott Coker's gain, obviously.
Dude. Game of Thrones has begun. So, Joey, they get 1 month. What's the main event for Destiny, February 10th, 2007?
Renzo Gracie versus Frank Shamrock.
All right.
Huge names.
Huge name. See, it's Gracie Shamrock. Natural enemies in the wild.
Yeah.
Hyena and lions.
Not just that. That was the first moment where my father should be recognized for his incredible savviness in business and as a promoter, because he orchestrated the deal with Scott Coker, who imagine Coker didn't get the Showtime deal. Showtime met with him. He didn't get the deal, right? Scott Coker is one of the best. My dad always said Scott Coker is one of the very best live event promoters, coordinators of all time. He knows how to make money out of that place, right? He owns San Jose. They made tremendous money. But you think he wanted to let us become stars and take his fighters like Shamrock? No. But I guess Frank didn't have his own certain contract with him, and then he was going to sue us, tortious interference. And my dad somehow mended it to where we would do some co-fights with them, which then became the Kung Lee fight. And we got Frank. And Frank also, it's just all so fucked up and convoluted, because it was like, even when we were dealing from the start, it was never us dealing for a fighter as just Gary and Jared, or Gary, Jared, Jeremy, or JD. It was the main Pro Elite guys like Doug. They were involved because they were giving Pro Elite shares because we were a stock. That's the whole crazy part about all this, right?
Let me address this. So you guys are a pink stock, an OTC pink stock, which is kind of like a penny stock. So you guys were the first to do stock as well. So we're going to kind of talk about some firsts that EliteXC did. The first thing they did was the stock exchange. Now, it's like I said, it's a pink stock. It's publicly traded. It actually topped off at $15 at one point. Like, it's a penny stock. It went up to $15. Do you know how many millionaires were made with that?
None, because we were in Holtz clause.
Well, none of you guys, but the people playing the game.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Not any of us.
So now you got a month. You got the matchmaking team of, okay, it's yourself, Rich Chou. Is it JD Penn? We got to do something special.
I think Jeremy's part of the first one.
Jeremy Lappen.
I think at first we were all together, and then as the fights came, we started to separate what that team was.
Okay.
And so Jeremy had his assistant JT Steele.
Oh, I know JT. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Good guy.
Yeah. No, for sure. So you got the Gracie, Renzo, Gracie, Frank Shamrock, and dude, how big of a pain in the ass was Frank Shamrock to work with? Just tell the truth. Was he easy? Because you guys worked with him a bunch of times.
Yeah. No, with us, he really wasn't hard. He really wasn't, but it's because I think we were not necessarily we were letting, but like the company was allowing it to be the Frank show for Frank's times when it was like, now you're the announcer on Showtime. Like, the perks were too good for him to fuck up or rock a boat in some real diva way. But Frank gets what Frank wants, and Frank is a hard contract, to negotiate.
All right, here. How much money for upfront for training expenses? What kind of percentage did he ask for upfront?
Did
he ask for any?
I don't recall.
Okay.
A lot of it, to be real with you, is just going to be, it's been over 15 years. So it's just like, there's going to be a lot of storyline, I know, and there's little intricacies like contracts. To be honest, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I only remember one contract negotiation. Well, I remember two, really well, but one of them was Josh Barnett, because Shannon was just driving a crazy, crazy thing, and we just couldn't get the deal done. And they were like
his girlfriend. They were
like over $250,000 rejecting at the time. It was just crazy.
So, and this is just a rumor, but there were several organizations in California that Frank would sign contracts with and get training expenses up front,
and then never,
well, you would get hurt. I mean, I'm sure it was all legit. Yeah. I'm sure there was medical paperwork there, but those organizations never had an event after that. That's all I can tell you. I got it documented. There's 3 or 4 of them. So either way, but the other thing is also, you guys didn't allow opportunity to pass. Not too many, because the amount of firsts in your company, it's like, oh fuck, they're going for the jugular. Like they're going for the kill here. First female fight on a nationally televised network.
Gina Carano, Kedzie.
And Julie Kedzie.
Yep.
Like, and dude, Gina Carano, this was like before she embraced who she was and her beauty, as well as her look and her energy, all of those things. Like EliteXC, in my opinion, helped Gina become who she was.
There's not a doubt. That's the fact.
Okay.
That's the facts. That gave her that's what blossomed her confidence. I know Gina, like I haven't talked to her in a long time, but like I was with her enough during that time that her personality was like so shy that when she was being put in the spotlight as this beautiful wrecking machine, she was uncomfortable at the beginning to like, you would never imagine she'd eventually become like a movie star, right? Like in front of the screen. So yes, of course,
right.
that happened.
So the conversations,
there's an interesting part of that. Yeah. I just want to touch on because you're there is, so the way that came about was, I think Rich had said something, there's this really good girl, we should put her on. She's cute, whatever, you know, my dad's like, oh, I love it. You know, like a cute girl. She can fight.
No pushback. No pushback.
Let's fight. Let's put this on. And he's like, okay, what's her name? Gina Carano. I know Carano, Glenn. So it turns out my dad's friends with her dad. So from the boxing world, because Glenn is a commissioner in Reno. My dad has a key to that city. Huh. And so he called Glenn and they made the deal. And now Gina is going to fight for EliteXC. And we match her against Julie Kedzie.
Now Julie, native Indiana girl. I've seen a few of her fights, her pre-EliteXC fights. And she's living with Greg Jackson. She moved to live with Greg Jackson, managed the gym, and transitioned to, I mean, some would argue, the single most important fight in women's MMA history.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, the reason it becomes that is because we think like promoters, and Gina's got a look. Gina's got a look. Yeah. So her look is enough to give this thing a little bit of, you know, main card attraction. Plus, like, she can fight. We've seen some video, like she brings it. So, okay, we're gonna put on the main card. Make the deal, Glenn, everything. And then she steals the show. Her and Julie just put on the best fight. And that became the running thing of EliteXC. Women always stole the show. But that also became the moment that my father really became the pioneer of women's fighting, because women's fighting's been around long before my father.
Yeah, and Jeff Osborne.
Yeah, yes, Jeff Osborne. There was already other federations, but you know what wasn't happening? UFC was never going to put them on. Strikeforce didn't have them, and we decided fight was awesome. We're going to start investing in women, and we're going to have a women's divisions, and we're going to be promoting women. But we didn't just go that far. We saw one fight with Gina, and we saw enough that when it came time for our primetime CBS thing, that my father was the inspirational, person to put Gina in position to be the first female to ever be on primetime television. Yeah. Right? We didn't have to put a female fight there, but we knew that they were going to be incredible.
So Joey, so what these guys do is they're not from the MMA world.
Right.
They come in and they just go, come on, dude. Yeah, of course. I mean, semi-attractive, well-spoken, comes from a good family.
They're seeing holes. They're seeing holes in UFC's game. Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we do this? After this, the gold rush for women's MMA begins shortly after this. And some would argue, like, you could sit here and go, well, the WNBA should get paid as much as the NBA or the women's soccer. You can make all those analogies. That's never happened in women's MMA. They've always, I would even argue, are overpaid as compared to their male counterparts based on their resumes and the quality of fighters that they're going up against, and largely due in part due to their social media and its broad, range of it. These guys are responsible for the type of paydays that women's MMA get. Tell me I'm wrong.
Nope. And not only that, for Cyborg.
We'll get to that. we'll get to all that. Yeah, no,
there's a roster of them. There's a roster of them. There's so many girls. And the truth is, Ronda Rousey would have been one of ours. It wouldn't have even been a question. And UFC probably would have never started it. It was only because they entered it once we were exited the business. And once they saw in Ronda that they could build something like we did with Gina.
And you know, Jared, I think we could all agree, oh shit moments are things that you sell. And oh shit moments happen on TV. Well, the big oh shit moment that happened behind the scenes was, what kind of ratings did they get? And it peaked where? Not at the main event. Shamrock Gracie, it didn't peak there. It peaked prior.
That's your oh shit moment.
Right or wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You have a beautiful fighting machine. It's an absolute promotional win. Like Gina fucking fights. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, she's a beautiful woman. Beautiful woman. And she can fight.
And there's nothing more beautiful than a beautiful fight. When fighters make fights, that's what you want to see. That no one stood up in a lunchroom to watch two people dance. So
let's talk about the announcers. You had Mario Ranallo, Bill Goldberg, and Jay Glazer. How does Ranallo wind up in all of these incredible spots?
I don't know. I don't know how he got there. Again, some of these were like either Showtime, you know, advised guys or guys.
I think Ranallo's got blackmail on somebody. I'll say it. I'll say it.
I don't know who brought him into the fray. I really don't. I can remember.
He's got pictures.
I don't know. He randomly dropped into the fray, but you know, look, we were so figuring it all out, and they we were all wearing a million hats. They're like, Jared, you're going to go on the undercard and you're going to be the announcer. I'm like, okay. Like, that's cool. Like you're going to run around. So like, there's like that extra footage of the first one where it's like, I did the whole undercard and I'm interviewing and I let Frank Shamrock choke me out. Literally. There's a video of it. And it's scary. I think I probably died for a minute. I don't know why I thought to myself, but I wanted to feel what they felt like, you know? My father always made me get in there with all of our world champions that weren't like a heavyweight. He always made me get in the ring and spar with them. Shane and, you know, Panchito and Gulo. Yeah. So I've been in with all these guys for at least a round or a couple rounds. So I guess in MMA, I wanted to see how did they go to sleep or what it felt like. And it just went boom.
Okay. So sponsors. We did
that first event.
I thought Jay Glazer did a great job. The post-fight interviews. The one thing that Jay does, it wasn't as smooth as you wanted it to be, but he actually used in-fight questions in regards to technique or angles, and they don't even do that in boxing today. It's almost like there's a plastic talking head with their questions that they got yesterday before they even got here. And Jay was actually very technical. And I really, and Bill Goldberg, you know, in a future show, also did a really good job.
Practitioner, you know, like that's the thing. We looked for guys that were practitioners of these sports to be the guys.
They were both good. They were both good, dude. Bill Goldberg did a good job. Yeah.
He did do a good job. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So sponsors, it's kind of like, a collage. It seems to me that you guys are courting them rather than actually getting checks. You got Monster, Throwdown, Sports Combat International, and the Fighter Hotel, Sam's Town in Tunic. And were any of those paid sponsors, or were you guys just trying to
Sam's Town for sure?
Yeah, free hotel rooms.
Well, or site fee deal.
Fuck with it's $20,000. Yeah.
And, you know, we definitely got some money there. We were playing a lot of money. You got to throw money at the beginning to make money.
100%. Yep. Absolutely. And this is
we're well funded.
And this is before Monster was sponsoring the UFC.
Yes.
Like you guys, like I said, you guys are going for the kill.
We believe we could catch them. We believed it.
All right. 180. Frank Shamrock's at 185. Renzo Gracie's at 180. Renzo is he's my favorite Gracie. Doesn't give a shit. He just wants to fight. Like Renzo's the friggin' best. Kind of a disappointing ending on the main event with illegal knees to the head.
Yeah. It wasn't even a really great fight going on, to be honest, at the time.
No.
So you know, and then it's controversy. Like it's like no matter what happened, this promotional outfit always somehow was wrapped in controversy.
Yeah. Here, well, that's a good segue. June 2nd, 2007, you guys co-promote with K1 Dynamite. You had mentioned about kind of purchasing organizations and grouping with them. K1 Dynamite, from what I was kind of able to piece together behind the scenes, this is the type of an event that takes years off of your life because of stress.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. Very difficult.
What? I mean, here you got
so many people. First of all, so many people involved, and
it was people.
And it was in a huge facility.
It's like 100,000 seat stadium.
Yep, literally, like, and
whose idea was that?
Probably Doug. Like I said, Doug in the beginning was very involved in the fight game part of it and meddling. Or being a part of it. I think that's what I always see in the fight game is the new players always come in and meddle because they just want to be a part of it all.
Right, what's Doug's last name?
DeLuca.
Doug DeLuca. Oh, Doug DeLuca. Okay, I got you. Yeah. My fault. Go ahead. Yeah, Douglas DeLuca. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
do you know what it cost to rent that place? I can't even imagine.
No, but you know, it was a partnership. And they had their money, K1. And I think they thought they were the new Pride and they were going to be there for good. I think they thought the way in America, we thought someone's going to come play with the UFC. I think they thought they were going to come play with the UFC. Affliction thought they were going to come play with the UFC. Strikeforce thought they were, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody was trying to gear up. It's like even the players that were already there, everyone understood. Okay, the Wild West just hit gold, or we just hit oil, landman. Let's fucking dig more. There's more oil here.
Get your people. Come on, let's go. Yeah. We're going.
Couple mansions gold up in them hills. Yes, dynasties are getting built everywhere.
There's gold up in them hills. Okay, so you guys don't even get your promoter's license until like less than 10 days out. What's that about?
Just I'm trying to even think. Procedural.
Can I maybe fish a little bit?
Yeah.
Sometimes what they do is when you've got like a high payroll and it's your first few events in the state, they request to see that money secured in a bank account. Was that one of the issues?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're moving money around.
Again, I can't say yes because if I say factually yes, I don't factually know that to be because, again,
but it's a possibility.
This company so fucked up where how many different heads there were and how many different people were dealing close to the vest in certain things. That why you think that would be a fight promotion question because it should be, right? It's the license. It may have had nothing to do with the fight promotion outfit because if it's the money, then it's Pro Elite. And it's the funding and where it is. Okay. And it's so much bigger than just having like, oh, here's the Gary Shaw checkbook. You ask me anything about Gary Shaw Productions, right? I'll know it like the back of my head. It's our family run business.
Yeah. All right. So Joey, they get 1 month to put together a fantastic main event. You got Shamrock, Gracie, right?
Yep.
Now you got 3 months. Can you list some of the fights on that K1 card, Joey? Did you have it pulled up?
Main event, Hoist Gracie versus Sakuraba.
Okay.
Which, I mean, great fight, great rematch. The other main event was supposed to be Brock Lesnar and Hungman Choi, but that got scrapped. The whole card was kind of plagued, right?
I believe Hungman Choi had a tumor or something in his head from the giant. Something, if I recall, and they couldn't fight. They wouldn't let him fight. We had the same problem with Big Silva.
Yeah, you had Gacius Cavalcante, you had Nam Fan on it. Like it's a stacked card. And Joey, that's 3 months later. So you're not even like clearing off the books for the old event.
Right.
This is every bit of a $500,000 fight card. Probably more with Lesnar.
At least.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a 7-figure paydays, like total paydays here.
They took some big chances on this card too. Throwing Johnny Morton in there, who was a big name, but from USC football. So like that was a big swing.
But that's to sell tickets.
Yeah.
That's a ticket play.
All right. But everything kind of, because you got to remember, your infrastructure isn't set up yet.
No.
Like your infrastructure takes probably about 8-9 shows before you start catching your rhythm. And then you can go.
K1 people are just crazy. It's hard to deal with, They run the show. It was their show. It was so much more than it was our show.
Okay. So you guys are just providing the infrastructure and
the network.
Yeah, but your infrastructure is still building.
Yes, we're doing. Yes, we flew on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I mean. Like there's so much more of the story of EliteXC is such a success for if you think about how fast we skyrocketed in that time and did it all on the fly. The whole thing.
I am telling you, there's no way you went to bed at night and resolved all of the questions that were probably really urgent for you to take care of because of how fast this is coming.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Correct.
Okay. And now you got the Game of Thrones happening inside because certain parties go, well, I can do that better than them. Me, rather than say, I don't know. Let's just, dude, if your dad's in charge, you ain't going anywhere. And if you got a problem with it, either hit the door or get in line. But any pushback, all you're doing is you're slowing everything down. Rather than helping, you're hurting. You really, I mean, you could be a really good person, but you might not be well intended. And that's kind of what happens behind the scenes in situations like this.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I'd say the biggest issue he and I had when it came to the fights was revolving around Kimbo. And
we'll get to that, dude. That's so far down. We're not even going to get to the dance enemy, dude. Let me tell you something. What happened with you and Kimbo? You dude, the first Brock Lesnar. You got Brock Lesnar. Okay. Yeah. I mean, first female, Gracie Shamrock, Brock Lesnar, Hoist.
We had the first.
There you go, dude. We're not gimmick guys. Well, what's CM Punk? What's Brock Lesnar? What's, no, you're a gimmick guy when it meets your need.
It was, I think what you have to realize was it's even bigger than that. The biggest threat that Dana probably was feeling was his infrastructure was being challenged on two fronts. On the pay scale front, it was going to be challenged. Well, on three fronts. On the pay scale front, on the treatment of fighters as the most important player, because you're their promoter, right? Like you're only as big as technically you're only as big as your fighter, but in UFC's case, no one's bigger than the brand. So we were going to be an issue on those two fronts, but here's where the real other issue was. And this has to do with what you're talking about K1 and what I'm alluding to about why my father really did incredible things. We come from boxing. What I tell you in our promotion, but what I tell you about our promotion, we never fought our own fighters. We made our entire career on taking risk and fighting other fighters. That involved always doing co-promotions, not being pigs, not needing to own an entire thing, but knowing how to share so that the other promoter also would feel comfortable risking his fighter because maybe we really thought our fighter was the guy. We were always willing to work with other promoters, and in boxing, all promoters do that. So when we stepped into MMA and EliteXC, that's what we set out to do. We weren't just going to promote our own fighters as our own in-house federation. We were going to cross-promote with other companies and fight our fighters against theirs. K1, Strike Force, right? Like it was.
Let me prove this. Let me prove that you're not lying right here. Go watch Destiny, their first event, and count how many other promotions are mentioned on the air when they're talking about fighters. The difference between you and everybody else, including Pride, it was forbidden to talk about it. Even King of the Cage, other promotions, you guys told your announcers, run with it. We don't care.
We're going to run it like boxing in co-promotion with that's how you get a contract done. Hey, guess what? You want a guy who's with another company and he's locked in a thing. You better make a deal with the other company to borrow him and have him fight. It's so different in soccer, right? They do loans and stuff. So this is a different way, and I think that's what pissed Dana off more than anything was he saw we were going to be able to do that because shit, if we could fucking work with K1 and that front, then what couldn't we be able to do, right? We could work with everybody.
All right. So you guys had the TV contract, which was your power. Like, yeah, that's where your foundation
always the leverage. The network is always the leverage in the fight game.
And rather than hoard it and keep it, you guys were like, all right, who wants to turn with it? There's going to be a quid pro quo, but we'll give you your shot. Now, Joey, if you look at the timeline, we're talking like 2007, mid 2007. Do any fighters come into mind that start having issues with Dana and money right around this time?
Oh, Tito never shut up about it. So yeah, to have another promotion that's coming in and that's willing to actually pay the guys what they're worth. Of course, Dana hated you guys.
Dude, that was not rehearsed. That was not rehearsed. So
no, it's the first one that pops into my mind.
All right. So Joey, do you have any of the pay scale that they were paying on any of these? Like any of their events? Like if you can rattle off the top of your head.
Oh, I don't know. I think Tito was getting a flat 100 at one point. I mean, he was headline.
He was getting like 30 to 60 right around there.
Yeah. He was 30 and 30 at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Tank Abbott, when he fought Kimbo, got 125 grand.
Huge for the day.
Dude. The locker room at the UFC, it was just everybody was whispering to each other that number.
Yeah.
Because that was the reality of what was really available, like fighters only get what they're given in reality, right? Or unless they have a shrewd negotiator negotiate their contracts. But when you're a closed shop, not reporting your earnings like the UFC, no one knows how much your events are making. But for us coming from boxing, it's not hard to understand how to generate the revenue and pay the fighters the proper amount or what we were going to be able to be giving as a very competitive offer to make sure that we were acquiring the right talent and at numbers that weren't going to sink us, believe it or not. So giving Tank Abbott 125,000 wasn't going to sink our success as a promotion.
It gave you credibility.
That was good matchmaking.
Yes, and we have TV contract, and sometimes even if you're not going to make money on that event, if it's to build the right fighter like Kimbo, then you're about to open the box office floodgates.
Dude, your ability, like the matchmaking, Rich Chou, yourself, J-Pan, the ability for you guys to kind of understand that language. Like you being a younger guy in the sport at this time, I should say younger guy in sport. You were in a sport a lifetime, but a younger guy to be in that room. You're talking master's degree type education within like 3 or 4 events, but you kind of were already there. You were there your whole life.
The Tank one, I won't give us all too much credit because we saved the fight that fell through. Kimbo and Tank were going to fight in Atlantic City. And that was our entry into getting Kimbo because since my father was on that commission from back in the day, we had intel that fight wasn't going to happen, that promoter hadn't put the money in place for the commission, that date was going to fall through. And we had already inquired about Kimbo, and I could tell you that story about why, because
let's dude, we got a lot going on. I mean,
it's irrelevant.
We'll get to it.
But that's how Tank and Kimbo happened. Is we saved that fight, signed Kimbo to a contract, okay, and then put that fight on as the main event in Corpus Christi.
What promotion was supposed to do that?
It was a
first?
CFFC, dude. We interviewed the guy. We talked about it. I'm going through my notes right now. I was hoping you weren't going to ask that question. Come on, dude. John Marsh. I'm going through my notes right now. Fuck, dude. I got so many notes on Tank Abbott. I'm never going to find it.
We'll fix it in the wrap up.
Yeah. Well, 100%. But so here's the thing with the K1 Dynamite event. Promoter's license. You had issues with that. Gina Carano pulls out due to illness within like 10 days of the event. Hungman Choi denied a license. Hoist Gracie and Johnny Morton tested positive for steroids. 40,000 in attendance with a press release from a detractor stating 39,000 comps, which I think that would be very, very difficult to do. I mean, if you're doing 39,000,
it's possible.
Are you serious?
I don't know, but that was a shit show. I just remember we just all walked away from that like that was a shit show.
Well, I know the advertising didn't even go out until like 2 weeks prior.
Again,
like, people didn't even know about it.
Co-promoting with an international company that is just does everything differently, and we took it. I think we took it on the chin there because we had people in our company that decided working with them was a smart move that had nothing to do with the fight portion.
Yeah. Mike Kogan had to issue a public statement. So I can tell you, like, I work for Bare Knuckle. We have comped at some of our events. It's not often, but when we have, essentially, let's say you give out 100 tickets, free tickets, 20 people come. 20 people come.
Of course.
So
it's rare you have that many people come even on a comp. I know. Yeah.
Like,
whatever
you have to give out 1 million tickets.
The number probably wasn't even 40,000, but whatever the number was, it was still probably heavily papered.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever
dude, even if it's 40,000, it's a huge event, but it's in 100,000 seat venue.
Yeah, so it looks empty no matter what.
It was like, here, we're going to block off everything.
Yeah.
You do the Strike Force co-promotion. About 3 weeks later, it's 20 days later, with Shamrock and Baroni. Oh, dude, you're not even sleeping. Your infrastructure's fucked.
We were going so much.
It's too much.
We were going a lot. And then we were about to launch the Showbox version of our next generation, our smaller EliteXC cards.
Yeah. So you actually, so that's, a few weeks later. So you guys are already planning more shows when you've got these and you're here.
Well, because let me explain that part.
Yeah.
We can handle that, like even the smaller shows, because we're built at that point between JD, Jeremy, myself, Rich, JT, because JT was doing clerical, like the commissional shit and everything. And then my father and myself, we were good as far as a fight operation that, like I said, we're a circus, and circus comes, picks up, goes down. So like we can handle every 3 to 4 weeks of fights. And our partners, Showtime, and they're used, they know they have trucks on the road, they set up, they do their production. Like, so the one good thing is, because you're a partner that way, production wise, we have nothing to do with the production of the TV side. So we didn't have that pressure on us of like, oh, we got to set up for the production. That never was a problem for us.
Did you get along with Scott Coker?
Yeah, I didn't mind Scott at all.
I mean, he was on Team Lappen.
No, I don't think he was on Team Lappen necessarily.
No. I know him and Rich had a real good relationship for a long time.
Oh, yeah, Rich ended up going and working with Scott. I think my dad and Scott had a good respect and understanding for him, and I think then that translated into like, like the sword cuts for you, cuts against you. So the people who meet my father before they meet me already will feel a certain type of way about me, depending on how they feel about my father. Just natural. So I think for that, I don't think Scott likes everybody necessarily. But I did get along with him.
At one point, I thought he was working for the UFC, when on paper he wasn't, based on some of his moves. But like, the guy's done some incredible stuff in the sport of mixed martial arts and kickboxing.
Yes. And of course, he was a thorn in our side when we were trying to do things because he wanted his fighters. But again, he was easily someone who wasn't manipulated. He was easily someone who understood his place in this, and he was about getting paid. So he was willing to not work with you as long as he was in some sort of collaboration. No problem.
I think that's respect. That's what you call respect.
I think that's why I say me and Scott got along. He definitely liked my father. I think it's because we understood you're a thorn in our side, but we're gonna show you the proper respect and let's make money together. Make money together. You're great. You're a great operator. And hence why do you think we come and do the Strike Force things? Because you're a great operator. Let's make money together. It's a success.
Yeah.
What are you missing? You're missing network. We got network. You got a gate that sells and packs a house. Great. You want more fighters on the card because your ticket sellers. Great. No problem.
We need your infrastructure. Give us your setup. This, that, the other thing. We'll just borrow. This is what we need. This is what you get. And shake hands, and you go your way, I'll go away, and maybe we'll meet up again. Yeah. So July 11th, you announce a monthly show called ShoXC to develop talent. July 27, 2007, which is 16 days later, your first ShoXC card.
Fast, right? Who moves faster than us?
There is no way.
But you know what? You know what you got to say with each of these, because it. As fast as these next ones all come, every fucking card is fucking great.
Oh, dude, Joey's got the lineup. He's already got the lineup. Dude.
No, just solid. Like the fight.
Oh, yeah. You got Crazy Horse Bennett in this one?
Yeah. I love
Charles. Showbox.
I love Crazy Horse. Yeah.
Love Charles.
And where I think also it made you dangerous was Dana and the UFC are going to go, well, we've got a ranking system. We've got the top 10 guys, and we're working them this way, we're working them that way. And then you come and go, well, a guy that you flushed from your system 7 years ago that's got a phenomenal name and an incredible reach and just household recognition named Tank Abbott, I'm going to give him more money than he's ever made with you to go fight Kimbo Slice. And like, in theory, he's a heavy underdog, but he's going to do exactly what it is we need for a tenth of the price of what we should pay. It's just, you can't fuck with that. You can't fuck with it, dude. It's true. You're a circus. You provide entertainment. And when that entertainment isn't as fun anymore, you got to change the act up.
By the way, this should always be stated. In both sports, all we ever did was provide authentic entertainment.
Yeah.
We are not your promoters to pull any type of shiesty shit on fighters or fans. So,
well, you guys had that reputation as well. Like, it wasn't like, let's just say if Tank Abbott's going into Kimbo Slice, knowing he's probably taking an L that night because there's just a big skill set difference. So what do you do? All right, dude, you're going to get paid. Go get that money. You're not asking him to lose.
He got hit, but he didn't want to get up because he was shitting his pants before that fight started. But that's cool too, because that's a Mike Tyson intimidation thing that Kimbo had. And Tank was important because he was going to legitimize Kimbo, right? Because it was a name, but he still took the punch. It wasn't like that. There was nothing fake about that fight. There was no fix, nothing. And and I know you're going to get to the Thompson fight, so I don't even have to discuss yet. But I do want to state right now, since we're talking about it, that wasn't fixed either. Thompson's an idiot. We told Thompson, drain your fucking ear before the fight. He didn't want to drain his ear. So by his own stupidity, he gave himself the one out that Kimbo somehow exposed by luck, you know? the bursting of the ear. Stop the crucifix.
We'll get there. So you guys, in order to get your first event, and 2 weeks later, you team up with Terry Treblecock from King of the Cage. Did you ever talk with Ted Williams at all?
I don't know, because when you say Ted Williams, only guy coming to my mind is the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
But who's Ted Williams? It's very possible. Remind me who Ted Williams.
Gladiator Challenge.
Yes, we definitely talked to someone named Gladiator Challenge.
Okay, so Joey, we're going to get Ted Williams on, and I want our listeners to bookmark this time right here. I have a feeling this is where Terry Treblecock made a lot of money and didn't include Ted Williams as business partner in on it. And I may be wrong. I could be wrong.
Maybe that's why I know Gladiator Challenge, but I don't know Ted Williams. I don't know. Maybe I do know Ted. Maybe I do know Ted. I don't know. It's just one of those. I don't really know.
Joey, when we interview Ted, this is
we got to bring it up.
This is where we get him comfortable, and then just kind of like switch gears out of the blue. What about this? Okay,
get him rolling.
You guys were in kind of a rectangle cage, though.
Yes, we were
movie prop, another movie prop, unneeded, unnecessary. What did that run you?
I don't know. I just only know about the dragons. What bothers me.
Okay, Joey, I've never seen this cage pop up anywhere again. Now, maybe it has. I don't know.
I think it was
just for one show.
No, we haven't.
The rectangle.
We had a cage built. No,
the rectangle was all of their cards.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it outside of.
We couldn't do the octagon. Obviously, we couldn't. We were
trying, of course.
But you guys had a hexagon at one point. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't recall that.
Towards the latter end, they had a hexagon.
I think I got to remember what it may
I
have been.
want to know where this rectangle cage is. It's in somebody's gym or in storage.
There's a dragon is somewhere that was in a warehouse for years.
Yeah,
the cage is somewhere else. I know
it's
that
a monster truck rally.
Eventually, we had one cage. I think with Terry, that's where he came in with getting the cage and stuff. And
but this was different than what Terry's normal cage looked like.
Yes, it wasn't the Cage Rage cage or the King of cage.
No, it was different. It was different. It was made. It was
still something that can be set up because this became the more of the show that was going to move, and we were going to go to places like Joplin, Mississippi, and like weird ass fucking places, which my dad loved to do, but because they were moneymakers, because all Indian reservations and they'll pay site fees, like I said, we turned profit in 14 months, so we understood how to operate as a boxing business, and that's exactly the game plan we were running.
So then you got August. So that's July 27th. You got a little bit of breathing room. You got a little less than 1 month. You got August 25th, 2000 ShoXC Challenger Series. But the thing is, like these little shows, they're easy to catch up because it's kind of like you're building your foundation. It's the big shows where you got to have the big national push for advertising, as well as, press conferences and things of that nature. Those are the ones that need more time, but you get more gate and more exposure. So the little ones are easy. It's kind of you're catching up right now.
We're still building the roster of premier talent and negotiating and trying to find guys and all the names. And while we're doing that, we're quickly skewing out all these smaller shows that we're building stars as fast as we can. We're finding stars, serving them. And that's just the way to success, to be honest with you.
All right. So here, August 25th, 2007, that's a Challenger Series. September 7th, a few weeks later, you announced that you purchased Cage Rage, and a partnership began at Cage Rage 23. Mm-hmm. Did you ever go to a Cage Rage in person?
Multiple.
Okay. Dude. We got to ask Joey. We got to ask.
Yeah, you do.
Jared, I'm going to apologize for this, but I have an audience that are just as mentally ill as Joey and I. Oh, God, I don't want to be rude. All right,
what was
Dave
the
O'Donnell,
substance
what was
the substance consumption
backstage
like at the show.
Yeah, was there?
I'll say
like
it.
Talcum powder.
It seemed like there was a lot of chemicals flowing around, the kind that get your heart going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, that's not like that.
That's disappointing, but okay.
Yeah, I think he does.
I don't. Even though I went to a couple, I was busy. I met a girl. I was with her for a while. So I was there to view, and then the other time, I was with my parents, and we were there just as guests. So again,
you didn't participate in.
I definitely didn't participate. I'm only a weed guy anyway. But
okay, so Cage Rage wasn't.
But yes, do I think it? Of course, I fucking think it. Are you kidding? They're probably fucking taking shots in the back anyway.
All right, so if you watch, ladies and gentlemen at home, go watch any Cage Rage, but don't watch individual fights. Watch the entire event, and like when Andy Gear does like his little pre-fight promos, it's like he's climbing on whoever he's with. Is like a jungle gym, and he's sweating profusely, and like and there's a couple times where you see the white powder around his nose still.
He was eating a donut.
Yeah, it does great. Cage Rage,
a crumpet.
Yeah,
powdered crumpet.
All right, so you didn't participate. Okay,
how much talent? You know how much talent we got from Cage Rage? Because we purchased them. You know how much?
Well, I would hope some, because they actually had the legit organization.
Yes, but we got none.
They didn't get everybody locked down on contracts.
No, and anyone they had wasn't good enough anyway. But we got their won their library. But the thing was, the other fucked up part here's Pro Elite, right? So that streaming part I'm talking about. Part of the reason they started buying up everyone is because they had this brainiac idea that these were all going to be like affiliates, and our main card, EliteXC, is on Showtime, and eventually we're on CBS, right? But all these other companies were buying Cage Rage, King of Cage, Rumble on the Rock. They're all going to be satellites, and when they have fights, it's going to be streams, and you're going to go to ProElite.com to watch the stream.
Right. Whose idea is that? Whose idea is that?
Probably Kelly Purdue.
Very ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Look, Kelly Purdue won The Apprentice.
Yeah. That's ahead of its time. Yeah.
It was ahead of its time. We were literally ahead of its time.
Yeah. I guess a first. Because
it's crazy because the company has so many amazing firsts. Like, right? Like it should have been such a success.
So
being right early sometimes feels a lot like being wrong. That's the thing.
Yes.
What was it? That baseball movie where the guy buys all the mid-level guys, the Oakland A's, and
Billy Bean.
Moneyball.
Okay, there's an analogy in it where he goes, the first one to run through the bushes gets all the scratches, but it makes it easier for everybody else. It's the perfect analogy for this. Like these little organizations that just kind of come to the forefront. I love doing exposés on this type of stuff, because it's so fascinating. You guys then have the idea where TJ Thompson, I don't believe, is a part of your organization yet, but Rich Chou is.
Even when he was never.
Okay. So, and I could be wrong. So September 13th, 2007, you announced the purchase of Icon MMA, as well as the announcement of like Rumble on the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the two competing organizations in Hawaii that weren't feuding. At least maybe they were, but I can't find anything to say the contrary.
Now we're going to put them together to do super fights of their own there and stream them again, but having nothing to really do with like the EliteXC fight team. Even though some of those guys are part of that, it was never really going to happen. This was like the Pro Elite people making moves, buying everything, and thinking this is them meddling. It was always fucking people meddling, and that was the problem. You see what I'm saying?
It is? I can tell you exactly what this is, and I say exactly. Let me guess exactly what this is. We had started this conversation off with your stock Your pink stock, your first time MMA company publicly traded, stock topped at $15. So whenever you have stock options like that are kind of running like that, oftentimes you have to show spend with the forethought that the people that are investing are going to come in again because they want to be a part of it. And even if the spend is dumb, you just kind of write a nice little synopsis of why it's important, and then they throw in again. And it doesn't make sense to like any of the three of us. But for some reason on the stock side, it makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Am I off or?
No, you're probably right, unfortunately, because that's what was happening. A lot of stupid spend.
And it's like, no, we're going to save this. No, this is our bank account. We're going to put this in a savings account. And then when things are kind of thin and we got to say F you, then we spend it. And then we recoup. And they don't understand it. It's spend. Yeah, it's weird. All right. So
also that I think everyone didn't understand that a fight company could be built very quickly without needing to purchase all the assets.
All you really need is a few companies, of which you already had. It's just building on top of it. You don't need more. We're good. Yeah, I mean, you guys farmed it out like that. EliteXC with King of the Cage.
Or we'll negotiate with another promoter for their fighter. Like we didn't. You don't need to buy the company. But the thing was, you don't need to buy companies where there were no assets. That was the problem. The only assets again were the video.
And the name.
There were no fighters in the Icon Rumble deal. There was no fighters, but that was important. Like I said, to getting JD and Rich on board and as part of the team. So that was the one good buy.
It solidified it. Okay. And this is Rich Chou's voice, I'm assuming, making this come together.
No, Rich is
he's a Hawaii guy.
But Rich is it's Rich. You're talking about Icon and being part of it. Yes. That's JD and Rich doing that, hammering it out.
That's let me kind of expand on Rich Chou at this point. Sometimes when you've got the upper hand on your opponent, you go in for the kill. And sometimes you say, hey, man, let's just kind of put the weapons aside, shake hands, and maybe we can do something like the land that we have. We can greatly expand if we come together. And that's a road less traveled.
It was better for all of them. I'm sure they all got rich deals,
But you rarely see that.
Yeah.
You don't see that move. That's like the 10%.
But like I said, it didn't come like that because TJ and I know Patrick, they were not happy with anything.
Sometimes people are just like that. Yeah.
But,
you just got to wait. Just wait your turn. You'll get there. Just wait. Don't force anything. Just wait.
Yeah.
One day you're going to call them and go, hey, dude, I hit a spot. Can't get through this. Help me out. And then mend the bridge. It's going to happen. Just wait.
Okay. Fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get those guys in the room. Gina Carano at the press conference where this was announced. Dude, it's a fantastic press conference. You can tell you guys were still really rich with people, thin with job duties, because like that press conference, like if somebody took the bull by the horns, that press conference should have been like a lot more flowing. It should have been like a WWE type thing where it's boom, boom, boom. Everything is just planned out by the minute. And it was, I'm not going to say a lackluster announcement. It was a huge announcement. It was just the delivery should have been like, oh shit, because it was an oh shit moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Gina Carano at it says she referred to this as the start of her new career. And I'm going to tell you, this is when, and we're wrapping up soon. I know we've had you for over 90 minutes. This is really when paid advertising committees, PR firms were hired to dig up anything that they could on you and just press release the shit out of it.
I don't know anything you would be telling me, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise you, right? Joey, how many times have we watched the UFC or something happens and a couple of the promoters or owners yell no or oh shit, any variation of that.
Oh yeah. When something unexpected happens or it messes up their next move on the board. Oh yeah.
Jared would have to go in front of a TV camera and just said, yeah, I yelled like, oh, or no, or it was a pretty crazy moment, along with the 6 million other people watching at the exact same time. The words coming out of their mouth were also coming out of my mouth. And it was just, it had to have been draining.
I just always say it's like, I'm a decent looking guy and I'm young and I'm in a power position. I was easy to be hated on by the community or by possibly paid for slander.
It really was.
But also you encounter situations where, and I've done this my whole life in the fight world, some people just aren't fucking good people. And they go out of their way to actually be the own problematic part, like Kim Couture. Kim didn't like that I was close to Gina. My job was also fight relations because I've always been around fighters and I just know how to relate to them. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, male, female, right?
Who gives a shit?
And I make unique bonds with certain fighters no matter what. And Gina and I had definitely had a bond. And Kim was her manager. And I think Kim thought she didn't have control of it because my dad and I would be like, Gina, we're fight people. Like the thing about my dad.
Yeah, you need a promotion. Can you help? Yeah,
but it's more than that. It's like when I think about why my father was such a great, successful promoter, you won't ever meet a fighter that will talk a bad thing about my dad because he makes every fighter feel like he's their manager, not just their promoter. He always is looking out for your best interests, right? That's a manager has a fiduciary responsibility to the fighter, but it also involves your best interests. And my father had a way of treating every fighter like one of his family members. That's how we are. We're just family run, right? So we're very personal with all our fighters. We get close to them and we therefore kind of take on a pseudo management role in ushering them certain places or, hey, we need you for the interview. And I think she didn't think she had control. Then she went and said I peeked behind the towel, some bullshit that Kim fucking said. So sometimes it's just fucking bad people, right? Like that started by her, and that's all. And was.
You're not the first person to have a Kim Couture complaint on the podcast.
Jared, if you're telling me the woman that broke up Team Quest is the greatest mixed martial art team in the world,
you already know.
Is meddled in things that her nose doesn't belong in. I don't believe you. I stand with Kim.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's like 15, 20 years later, all this shit that you get wrong for, when you're honest and everything, people no longer look at you because oh yeah, look at the players that you're talking about. Oh, of course. Of course.
Dude, what did Matt Lindland call her? I think he called her Yoko. Oh, I think Matt Lindland called her Yoko.
Yes, Yoko.
He called her Yoko.
Yes. Yeah. Listen.
Dude.
Yes.
Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, Matt Lindland, Randy Couture, amongst dozens and dozens of other people, ended up suing each other because of her. I got her phone, dude. I got her phone number. I got her number. We could get her. I think we can get her out.
And who fucking knows if Jeremy Lappen was part of that because he was close to the Coutures. So,
I'll get to Scott. I gotta be honest with you. If I get Kim, I gotta throw you under the bus. And at this point, what'd you think? I won't.
Peeked behind a towel.
Yeah, he peeked. Yeah, no, I really, to be honest with you, I remember watching this go down in real time, and I genuinely felt bad for you.
Thank you.
I did. I'm like, it's not right.
Yeah.
James Krause situation. You find out who your real friends are, and unfortunately, it's a hard way to do that, but it's also good because you know who your friends are.
Yeah, I mean, part of that was why I started to take a proactive myself in making sure that I started talking to press and that I had my own voice and that I was going to be able to be my own narrative, and no one was going to talk this fake shit about me that everyone's making up because they're jealous that I'm in a position that I'm in. But you know what? I should be in this position because I'm born into the fight game and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And every fan should actually love me because I'm a fan first. So everything I think about is with the purity of a fan and never about a business. So I just wanted to say that the thing that I tell you, that the biggest head bashing between Jeremy and I behind the scenes, it was because I was the one who constantly wanted to put Rodgers and Kimbo against each other. That'd
have been great.
It was would have been a great fight. Maybe Kimbo wouldn't have won, but I knew I could promote Bret if Bret won and Kimbo didn't. Bret was big, but I still thought Kimbo could beat him. And Jeremy was trying to make all these other fights that we already legitimized him, but it comes a point when you have a rocket that if you try to keep legitimizing the rocket against shit, you get a shit ton of pushback that isn't needed. And you don't need to fucking pay for it.
Dude, not only do you not need to pay for it, Bert Rodgers would have been probably the biggest fight of his life. And sometimes that experience comes at a cost. And when you're in the fight game, you're taking calculated risks. And if you're working with other promotions and other promotions fighters, your biggest asset is your matchmaking team, because you're riding or dying. You're all in on black or all in on red is your matchmaking team.
Yeah.
It is.
And when
it's
you
the
gamble,
fight game.
when
it's
you're
the fight game.
If gambling is poker, you better know every out and exit strategy you have prior to your gamble. So I know, Jeremy, you're not fucking thinking, because what if Tank lands the shot? What if Ken Shamrock lands the shot? What the fuck am I going to do with either of those fighters? Nothing other than the rematch with Kimbo, right? There isn't going to be an opportunity to build these guys, but young Bret Rodgers, who's a beast, who's big, who's girly, who's nasty, I can promote him. So if I do lose, if this doesn't work out and my moneymaker is now kicked aside, I've got another guy I could build while the moneymaker figures himself out, whatever it is. I was thinking like a promoter. That's what a promoter should think like. And that was consistently the biggest fight that he and I battled on. And so I didn't make it easy for him with his other fighters.
So, Joey,
I'm thinking about Bret Rodgers and Kimbo right now. I think that would have been good.
Would have been incredible.
It would have been like Bret Rodgers' 12th fight. And if you look at like Bret Rodgers' first like 7 or 8 fights, it's all guys that he pulled out of the audience. Like it's ideal. Lots of experience, big reputation. A guy fighting, maybe a little timid, a little scared that, oh shit, that Bret Rodgers would definitely feel that. Yeah. And you can promote him.
We didn't need Ken Shamrock at that point because Kimbo's name was already big enough and CBS. We didn't need that problem.
Joey, what do you think about
was Ken Shamrock a problem?
No, that's for part 2. That's for part 2. I hate to do that, but here's the thing.
Part 2, I'm going to tell you how I tried to attack him in the locker room. Me.
So
I was so mad because I am like, you fucking cut your eye like the WWE. That's what I started screaming.
Okay. Joey?
I asked, you fucking rolled and fucking accident happened. Yeah, because it was a money play the day before. The day before he asked for money, but we're going to get into it.
We're going to get into it. That's a teaser.
Of course he asked for money the night before.
Okay, so Jared, generally speaking, like I get on my notes, I get my timeline and stuff like that, like kind of what we're going through. I'd say about 5 pages generally is about 90 minutes. I've gone through 2 and we're almost at 2 hours. So it's like, there's a lot to unpack. Dude, there's so much good shit. And dude, here, we're going to start
wild ride.
Part 2 going into the Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu, world famous, like place to do a fight at. And these guys, like, this is like when Rich Chou really flexes his muscles as a matchmaker, and you guys with the support and stuff like that, like you guys you're on fire at this point, just working magic, dude.
Yep.
Scala.
By the way, I just want to say the best part about that is after Nick fights.
You're talking about Nick Diaz.
Yeah, he's so wild. After Nick fights, he gets staph infection. Okay. Goes to Las Vegas, checks into the hospital with staph infection. which is why he didn't perform well. Remember, he didn't have a great outing. And then we go to look for him at the hospital, like the next day, and they can't find him. And he left and didn't even check himself out because he wanted to go run in a triathlon. Nick Diaz, everyone.
So,
and at that point, by the way, the reason we fought him in Hawaii was because we had to make sure we had picked a state where they weren't going to test for weed.
wait, Joey, this sounds like a promotion that actually cares. Oh, guy with social anxiety disorder. You know, we're going to put you in front of a whole bunch of cameras and fine you if you don't show up to a press conference.
And take away your weed.
Yeah, and take away your weed. Come on, man. It's come on, man.
You're going to do what you do. We're not going to break laws, but we're going to try to help you where we can, when we can. Obviously, it's not good for us for you to be suspended anyway. And obviously, a guy like him, he's going to smoke no matter what. So you better figure out. Again, it's about being good promoters. You got to know your business, right? Know your fighter, know your client, know your talent. If you know them, you know how to utilize them.
Dude, I'm really appreciative that you dug my message out of the junk mail. And I think the let me just pull something up real quick. No, that's not it. That Nick Diaz fight that night, I'm trying to find it. His opponent, I don't know why it's not in my notes. I think I erased it.
The KJ Noons fight?
No, it's not. It's the Hawaiian guy. Come on, look it up. It's one of the top 5 heroic moments in mixed martial arts. The Hawaiian guy put up one of the greatest fights. Like it's in one of my top 5 underdogs that just missed.
Oh, Mike Aina.
That's it. Aina. Dude, 500 fighter, went in there balls to the wall. Nick Diaz fought his fight. And Aina, dude, it's yeah. It's 4 touchdowns.
That was coming off of Nick coming off of suspension after he had just beaten
Gomi.
Yep.
Yeah. So dude, you're talking about a promotion working with the fighter.
You know what every fighter got when they would, if you fought for us, do you know what I don't know how it is at bare knuckle, but let me tell you how it would be at bare knuckle if we were there, what it was like at EliteXC. When the fighter arrives at your hotel and they check in, awaiting them in their room or with, you or somebody from staff would have been their team sweatsuits with their names on the back and with the promotion company. And that's something my dad believed in, making everybody feel like they were more than a gift bag. Like your sweatsuits with your name, like your ownership of like, it's you and you're a team and like
here. You've
part
arrived.
of us too. And you've arrived and here's our gear, rock our gear. It's like, and then that made them fight for the promotion just as much as they fight for themselves.
Joey, we're going to go through this Blaisdell card in part 2. Dude, I don't know what your holidays look like. Can we go after the new year?
Yeah.
Or before? Doesn't matter. You tell me when you're ready to record.
I can do before New Year.
Do I do next week, same time?
Let me just see what my next week looks like. Well, next week, same time as Christmas Eve, and my girl.
No.
She's Hispanic, so that's their Christmas day.
Wait. You're in Miami, Colombian or Cuban?
Colombian.
I'm sitting next to one right now.
Yeah. We'll get a necktie. Don't say anything wrong.
Bro, I love my wife.
Viva Colombia.
Yeah, Viva Colombia. So, all right, we'll figure it out, after Christmas. But we're going to title this "The Rise of EliteXC."
Yeah. So hopefully it was informative for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. In Miami, next time I'm out there, dude, I'm coming by. We're going to grab a coffee or something. All right, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely come check out a fight. I like to see the product. Like I said, I have an interesting kid. This last kid I managed, I thought he was going to be fucking like a Tyson monster in a smaller version in boxing. And then he was just fucking hard headed. He's from Newburgh. Newburgh's like the worst fucking city in all the US. And I had him out with Buddy McGirt out in LA.
Oh wow, legit.
And then he went home for the first break, and then he fucking got arrested, and that was the end of his career. And then he'd been calling me from jail for like 5 years, and now he just came out. And actually, I'm gonna call after this, and I'm gonna probably call Joe DeGuardia about him just because I'm like, I'm not really in the game anymore, but like I want to do you right. But I thought about it. I'm like, this kid's hands are so hard that I'm
you said Cuban? Is he Cuban?
No, he's black, but this guy's hands were so hard that I'm curious if he would fight bare knuckle. And it's something, if he does, and I know he trains, I'll venture down later and possibly speak to you about, but we'll see. I'm going to call him, but
either way, I'll connect him with the matchmaker down there.
Yeah.
Little Serge.
He's nothing ready yet. I don't know. Listen, he's coming out of jail. Who fucking knows if he's got anything left? The only guy ever to come out of jail and be successful is Bernard Hopkins.
Brother, always a pleasure, man. I'll be in touch.
Appreciate you guys.
Joey, the rise of EliteXC.
Does that mean part 2?
Oh yeah, dude, we'll probably bookend that. Yeah, we're not gonna have a long turnaround. We got to do that one quick.
For sure. Oh yeah, a lot of good stuff in part 2 coming up.
Oh, dude, I think this is where the meat is. This is where the crash happens. Like as good as that was, the fall is where it's at, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
TJ
Thompson
we set the table,
stabbing up, a dead body. Oh, dude, there's some good shit there.
Dana White dancing on the corpse. Yeah.
With the YouTube channel with one video on it. Yeah,
I know. I didn't realize that they had bought King of the Cage, but the story was always that Terry has sold King of the Cage 3 times and then bailed it out of bankruptcy and bought it back for pennies on the dollar. This be one of those times.
This is one of those times. Yeah.
Now the rectangle cage you're talking about, was that just for one show?
It's like a hockey rink. That's what it looks like.
Huh.
I've never seen it before.
But it was only for one of their cards.
I didn't watch all of the ShoXCs, but there's like 10 of them.
Right.
Maybe it was used a few times, but like after this, it's gone. Like King of the Cage doesn't use it. Gladiator Challenge doesn't use it. It doesn't pop up in some of the regional. Like it's so recognizable that you would know it.
Right.
So I don't know if it got scrapped or whatnot, but very, very unique.
It's in a gym somewhere, I bet.
It's big. Here, if I had to guess, Dan Henderson. He's got the space.
Yeah.
It's got to be something like, one of those bigger gyms. But Joey, like, share, subscribe. We're going to do part 2. I think we're going to do a year-end review after this. We'll probably start the new year with either part 2 with this or with Ed Herman, one of the two. Shamrock or
got a lot.
McCorkle as well. We got. Is he good? You think he's going to be good?
McCorkle is good to go. We got to nail down the day, but yeah, Hong Kong Fu, he's coming through for us with the short fuse human.
He's the best. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, Joey. Be good.